Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the legendary Voltron from the folks over at Playmates. This is the legendary Black Lion. Brings something a little bit bigger to the table as he is a larger deluxe figure versus the smaller lines that we've looked at on this channel. The Black Lion also features 50 plus phrases and sound effects from the show. Obviously he is the middle component. All the arms, the limbs essentially are going to be merged to the torso, giving us a completed Voltron, and I can't wait. Of course, there's also a warning choking hazard. Small parts not for children under 3 years of age. Spot ended up having to order all of these online because, sadly, Canadian toy stores sucked. Couldn't get these at all in stores, so I had to order these all online. Side of the box features or shows you how to merge the... Well, it doesn't show you how to merge, but it does show you the completed Voltron once we've finished everything. I think I almost might even do that as a separate video. I might look at the Black Lion, and then I might actually do a merge video where you can see all the lines coming together and build ourselves Voltron. I think that might be fun. Voltron, long ago, a mighty robot warrior Voltron was created to protect the galaxy from evil. Now 5 young heroes must master the power of the Voltron lines to defeat the Galra Empire and restore peace. Black Lion, the leader of Voltron, the Black Lion's incredible power is known throughout the universe. It also shows you some of the sounds that it will make, also the voice clips. And the Black Lion has 25 points of articulation. Like what you saw, I want to check out more from Playmates. www.playmatestoys.com is your destination. Spot's going to take a break. Going to get this opened up. And when we come back, we're going to have a look at my favorite line from the Voltron line, the Black Lion. And we're going to give ourselves one more step closer. I think I might do it as a separate video. One more step closer to making Voltron. So there's a lot more coming your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. All right, so now that we've got the Black Lion out of packaging, you can probably see right off the bat, it's a much larger lion than the other lines that we've had a look at over the last series of video reviews. Obviously, the Black Lion has to be bigger than the other lines because it's going to be making up the majority of Voltron. The limbs are essentially just attaching to the sides and to the undercarriage of the Black Lion, so it has to be a bigger figure. You can also see, yes, one of the sound effects there emitted. There's a little button point on the side. It can be very easy to trigger. In fact, I've triggered it a couple of times prior to this review. It just really, it's such a large figure. And I think they couldn't have done better justice when it comes to a Black Lion release. This guy looks so very cool. He does come with his little pod, as you can see right there. It's a little sleeker than I would say perhaps the other lines that we've looked at, the other lion pods. Little speeders here. It is a soft rubber, or I guess in this case it's a little more denser of a rubber than the likes of the yellow speeder. And we can go ahead and take the line and flip it upside down. And this one actually is a little harder to find, but the tab point here is right here. And the hard part, I guess the easiest place to find it, look for this little section here, this little indentation. This will be your key as to where you can pull and open up the door frame here. And then from there, take your black speeder and slide it right into the nose cone holder here. And then from there, just close it up. This one doesn't actually sit as secure. One thing I will note as compared to the other lines, it doesn't seem to sit as secure from time to time. Putting it up seems to then unloosen it, and I've had a couple of times where I've shook the line and I could feel that it was rattling inside. So you want to make sure, give it a good push, and very carefully close the door, that when you don't accidentally open it again, see, it's already become loose once again. There we go. Close it up. See, every time yeah, there we go. Close it up, it always seems to want to come loose. Just make sure you get it nice and secure. Push it down a couple of times, and then very carefully close the door. All right. To give you a scale comparison as to how much bigger the Black Lion is to the other Voltron lines, I'm only going to just bring out, actually, you know what? That's not true. I won't just bring out a couple. I'll bring them all out. Here is the yellow line. We'll put him right there. and hopefully I've got enough space for all these. There's the blue line, right there. And I'm reaching down, I've got them all down on my shelf here. There's the red line. Actually, we'll move these guys over. There we go. Move over the blue, move over the red, and not quite in the sequence that Spot reviewed these in, but there is the green. Very distinct from one another. Even the clone lions still have unique traits to them that make them distinct from one another. But just if I can give, well, there's all 5 of them for your consideration. Maybe what I'll do is I'll remove the blue line, and I think I'll remove the red line. Okay, and I'll just show you a quick comparison as to how much bigger these lions are. There's the yellow line, there's the black line. They're about the same length, even though the black line gets a little bit more clearance because he's got the longer head, or the head actually is further out than the yellow line. So he's a little bit bigger than that. And there he is next to one of the smaller arm lions, in this case the green line. You can see how much bigger he is. And actually, if I just hold this up, you can see how much broader the black line is to the green lion. All right, so we'll just put that down. The line, much like the original classic Voltron, has also the inclusion of the wings on the top. Now, if you remember, the original Voltron had the wings kind of out. They were just like panels. They came out this way, and they would kind of swing out. So when Voltron was upright, the wings would kind of just jet out. One of the common traits to an old Voltron toy was that the black line's wings were always really loose. They never really stayed up because the hinge would eventually get loose over time, and they would always flop down. The black line not only getting a much bigger, beefier upgrade, also gets an upgrade when it comes to his wings as well. Now gone are the wings that kind of just stick out sideways and hinge back and forth. Now he's got these big, broad, behemoth wings that you can do a lot more going with them. For starters, you can hinge them up, or you can hinge them down, depending on your preference. And then from there, these can also pull out like that. And from there, you can just kind of adjust them to your heart's content. So if you want to have something a little bit more bigger and broader, you can do that. Or if you want to bring these back in, you can have something a little bit more scaled down. There's a switch at the top, an on and off switch. Batteries are already included. Playmates already includes those. And again, to cycle through the commands, you're just going to press the button on the side, which will also light up the chest.
Now, we will destroy you. Now we go on the offensive. Let's light this thing up. Fire lasers! We will save the universe. Let's light this thing up. Fire lasers! Now we go on the offensive.
Spot won't go through all 50 phrases, give or take 50 phrases on the line, but just to kind of give you an example of some of the sound effects and voice clips that you'll get here. One thing that was a frustration for me getting this guy out of the packaging was his ears. When you get him in, when you buy him, see, now I've done it. The ears are tabbed, or actually closed shut. And there's really not a lot to grab, so especially if you have cut fingernails, there wasn't really a lot to grab to bring the ears out. But that is the default look you would want to get for him. Again, no problems really with paint. His color primarily a black, a little bit of areas of the red and the blue with the gold. Nice touch. His mouth does open and close, but again, opening it too much will reveal Voltron's face sculpt, which I'll show you that in a second. When it comes to his posability on the black line's head moves up and down, and again, triggering. You know what I'll do? I'll just turn that off for the time being. The head does move up and down by virtue, not even so much virtue of transformation, because the head moving up and down doesn't really affect transformation because his head will always be down. His legs do move forward and back. He has not a ratcheted joint, but this section here hinges. He does have a ratcheted joint on the lower portion of his paw. Back legs move, ratcheted joint there, and a ratcheted joint in the back paw. The tail also moves back and forth. There's no posability also in the mid-carriage area, solely just due to the fact that this is all your electronics and your inner workings. You don't want to be changing too much of that. Now to get this guy into Voltron mode, it's fairly easy actually. You just flip these panels up, take the legs, and you want to bring the legs inward, because what you need to do is to bring these all the way in and tuck them into place like that. Close that up. Do the other with the other paw, bring that forward and tuck that in, and you can go ahead and close that up. Your connector points are on the sides for the corresponding arms. We'll do that in a second. These can come down. The legs can extend downward like that, and you just want to straighten out the feet to eventually slot into the back portion of the legs. From there you can bring out these depending on how you want to have it displayed. We'll bring the camera up here. And then finally, I'll form the head. And you just bring that down and you've got yourself Voltron. It doesn't have as much the wow factor because we're not, of course, incorporating the arms and the legs. I think I'll do that though in a separate review. Additional articulation though, he has his legs that can move forward and back. This also is very beneficial for displaying Voltron in some more dynamic poses. In a nutshell, one of my favorite lines I think has been given a very, very awesome upgrade. Playmates Toys, good job guys, good job. All 4 lines of the limbed lions that we looked at all turned out great, and I really liked how the black lion turned out as well. The only thing we have to do now is merge him to Voltron, which I think I'll save for a separate video. That way we can do some true justice. I'll even try to do it in the way of the old Voltron. So stay tuned for that video. In the meantime, today's Toy Spot, we're looking at the final lion. This was the Playmates Toys legendary Black Lion. Again, stay tuned guys. Spot's going to do the merging video of Voltron. I'll keep that as a separate video so you guys can get a treat out of that. As always, thanks for watching though, as you always do. I'll see you next time.